Good morning, everybody. Before I get into my comments, I do want to recognize a couple of people here today. Those of you who don't know, this is both labor and management. The IUPAT has started to build a relationship with a fellow union. This is the Swedish Painters Union. When I first met Mikael Johansson, the president of the union, he was so excited to meet someone from the Painters Union. He told me that there were actually 3 painters unions in the world. One in Sweden, one in Denmark, and the Painters Union here in the US of A. And he takes a lot of pride in that. And we just started to work and do a couple of shared visits. We had a delegation go over to Sweden just this past summer to talk about organizing and apprenticeship and training, etc. And I want to recognize 2 people that are here today from the Swedish Painters Union. We have Peter Stålstrand, Vice President, and we also have Jan Olaf Gustafsson here. Would you 2 stand, please, and be acknowledged by the delegation here? Swedish Painters Union. Thank you guys so much for being able to get here. Thank you very much. And we will continue to be working with them because one of the things we know when we talk about the construction industry and the building trades industry is that the world is, I don't know if I say fortunately or unfortunately, becoming flatter. We know that there are international corporations, international companies. One that comes to my mind is if we think about Turner Construction. I think a lot of you here in the U.S. have been on a Turner Construction job site. I always thought it was a company that was a U.S. company. Well, it had been bought out a couple of years ago by a German conglomerate, and I think recently it's been purchased by another company, I think out of Japan. Not full on the details, but this is like the movement of the business and the importance, again, of us being unified some way, shape, or form to address these issues and these technological and business changes that impact us all. So again, I want to echo, thank you, Mike, for your comments, and Anton. I want to first touch on something that Anton talked about yesterday. And it was that vision and the strategy that the LMCI and FTI and that concept of alignment. My general executive board, staff, and leaders have heard me recite these phrases throughout my time as the leader of the IUPAT. The same group also heard me at our general convention in 2014. What did we do there? We threw down the marker of regaining those 30,000 members that we lost as a result of the horrific recession of 2008, and reclaim that bold future. Those 2 ideas of alignment and bold future go hand in hand. And let me start by making a few comments about our director of both the International Finishing Trades Institute and the Labor Management Cooperation Initiative, Anton Rusing. Anton has the backing and support of both boards of trustees. Anton has a vision to carry out the objective of the boards and implement the strategies that lead to action and results. And I just make a comment about that. A lot of you serve on boards of trustees. A lot of times we feel we're the smartest people in the world. A lot of times my idea is the best idea that needs to be practiced. Anton is able to navigate through all of that stuff and get us on a track to make sure that we're moving in the right direction in order to grow. You can see that some of this year's FIF, with respect to integrating our Pulse of the Industry initiative into our business practices, raising the stakes and collaborating on the opioid epidemic, substance abuse awareness, and suicide prevention, as well as putting into action the LMCI's marketing initiative, which has been rolled out here at this year's Finishing Industries Forum. All of those efforts require vision and leadership. Anton's vision extends beyond our offices in Hanover. He understands that the work that gets done and it's with everyone in this room. Ladies and gentlemen, it's in the field. It's on the job site. It's on the shop floors. And it's what you face every day in our industry. And I understand that. My general executive board understands that. And our director, Anton Rusing, understands that. Anton, thank you for your leadership. Now, I'm going to shift into our program this year and some of the policies and programs that the IUPAT views as important. The first session we heard was a report on the pulse of the industry. This initiative was launched in early 2016. The intent was to gather industry leaders from labor and management and discuss important industry issues. The IUPAT and the FCA wanted to hear from our local affiliates and leaders on what was driving their needs so we could collectively assess how our institutions could assist in promoting programs and policies that would lead to greater impact in membership, market share, and impact. My vision for this program was to take a step outside of the echo chamber that we sometimes get caught up in and get a direct pulse from members, representatives, owners, contractors, and trainers who are working in our trades every day, and to get a perspective on how the LMCI, IUPAT, and FCA could better service your needs and continue to keep these craft committees, working groups active and vibrant in order to continually provide solutions to the problems that we're facing in the industry, and conversely, promote, highlight, and replicate successful local initiatives. A lot of you have heard me say, I'm not opposed to stealing a good idea. That's part of our role as an international union. We have the resources, the willingness, and the vision to spread these ideas across the great IUPAT family and through the means of the IUPAT and our affiliated funds. Some of those examples are our STARS program. STARS, Genesis, PIPS, DC 35. CAS forums, Genesis, District Council 53. Programs such as our Council on Occupational Education, Genesis, District Council 21. These programs, again, weren't created, weren't developed or designed by the International Union, or what I say, sometimes that little echo chamber we get ourselves caught up in. They were formed by partnerships on the local level, our affiliates and their contractor partners. And I want to commend the work that you all do locally, because of what the IUPAT can do is view those local partnerships and make those initiatives a reality and raise the bar for our national affiliated funds to successfully fund these programs. They're all successful. Look at our local partnerships throughout the United States and Canada, and my hope is to steal every single great idea locally and to find a way to bottle that and push it down and out to our district councils who are in need of support. That's the nature of the IUPAT. That was the vision, is the vision of the pulse of the industry. And I want to thank each and every person who participated in those forums for the last 2 years, because you're the one who made this forum work. Thank you so much. I know when we do this work, I know it's not easy to take time out of your day jobs to assist when called upon. And once again, thanks for bringing your ideas to the forefront. Anton laid out a vision of incorporating the pulse of industry work groups into every aspect of how we do business. We need that consensus in order to move forward within the industry. There are too many factors at play that are constantly trying to undermine the unionized finishing trades industry for us to not move forward with a mission of growth. Growth in our members and prospective members, growth in our signatory contractors, and prospective signatory contractors in making our communities where we live and work a better place. Later on Monday afternoon, this past Monday, we heard from Travis Bornstein and my friend, Bob Swanson, who absolutely is an industry visionary and a person who is part of that genesis of the Finishing Contractors Association to be that kind of collaborative partner we all hope to have, both labor and management working together, where they discussed the opioid, mental health, and suicide epidemic that is far too prevalent within the construction industry. And I will tell you, if you don't know the statistics on this, I'll just drop one of my business managers that I spoke to about this epidemic. Calendar year 2017 through the month of August 2017. 6 members passed away from the opioid epidemic. 3 members, death by suicide. You can't tell me that losing even one doesn't have an impact on our organization. From a practical standpoint, someone comes into the organization, they're mentored, they're trained, there's an investment made, they're an asset, significant asset, and to lose them has an impact on our organization. I'm so glad that we have people that have leaned in on this, because like I said, we're looking for solutions to make something happen. And I'm so proud of every person who participated on that work group, because the challenge of opioid, suicide, death by suicide is real. And it was somewhat shocking to me to see, and I think that that stat was shown, that building trades workers are probably one of the largest, highest groups of that very tragic system of opioid abuse and death by suicide. That's why we do this. It's not just about me, it's not just about you, it's about all of us. And just like when the session started, just about every person raised their hand in the room that could say they knew someone or they were directly impacted by one or maybe both of those issues. So we need to be aware. And I know that that work group would develop some things that work for us. In this industry, I talk with my business managers throughout North America, and I'm far too often discussing this issue. We cannot ignore it, and I am excited about the prospects of everyone in this room that brought to this conference with regards to solutions, practices, local programs, and the ideas of what the IUPAT can do at a time for our brothers and sisters who need us. I want to personally give my personal shout out to a couple of business managers I spoke with about this. Greg Smith out of District Council 58, Jeff Sullivan out of District Council 35, and Joe Ashdale out of District Council 21, whose leadership on this issue has challenged how we think about implementing a national program. Now, my colleagues at the National Building Trades are wrestling with this same conversation and are putting together a task force on the same issue. And I am proud that the LMCI and the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades is kickstarting the conversations about how we can tackle this problem. I've assigned Ken Seal as a representative on this to the North America's Building Trades Unions, NABTU, and CPWR task force that will share in the discussion at this conference and elevate the conversation to the next level so that we can collectively, building trades, approach this epidemic. And Monday afternoon, we also had workshops on emotional intelligence and successful relationships, along with the glazing and industrial coatings workshops. Now let me take a minute to talk about two of those workshops, the glazing and industrial workshops. These are two industries in the IUPAT with tremendous growth potential and areas where we have spent significant capital over the last decade. There are also two industries leading the way in certifications. As you all know, our CAS certifications, and you all know the massive undertaking we have been going through to working to place that in our glazing industry. However, if we are not aligned as an industry, we will never succeed. We have to approach all industries by the IUPAT, including commercial painters and decorators. We hear you. With a unified voice and model our programs accordingly. We have to continue the dialogue about the best interest of workers and contractors in those boardrooms and walk out with a singular focus. There's no margin for error for us to go separate ways on issues vitally important for our survival. We must do everything in our collective power to remain the leading organization that provides the safest and most qualified workforce. These issues align. Therefore, we must be aligned on them. Now, speaking of alignment, Tuesday morning we heard from Director Rusing about recent changes to LMCI and FTI and the vision of our boards of trustees and tasking Anton with leading both funds and coordinating the collective field staff and mission statements to complement one another. The respective boards of the LMCI and FTI approved this direction, and a subcommittee was formed. That subcommittee Tony D'Arcangelo, Harry Zell, and Bill Candelori worked at discussing what a combined mission statement would look like and all the reasons why both of these funds need to be working in alignment with each other to maximize the benefit to the industry. Anton, working with that committee, including George Gallus, has doubled the field staff in order to meet the needs of the industries we represent. He now has the ability to have in the LMCI and FTI the ability to work in unison with a singular focus. And that singular focus is growth. Growth in services to affiliates, growth in marketing, growth in membership, growth in safety awareness, growth in professional development, growth in profitability, growth in every aspect we seek as our collective organizations. This was not something that was taken lightly or something that was done out of convenience. It was done because it makes sense. Over the years, many programs have shifted from the LMCI to the FTI and vice versa. Over the years, many programs have shifted back and forth. We continue to do that. This move will streamline the programs and provide better service to our affiliates. This was done because these funds need to be aligned and in sync in order to maximize the benefit they provide for the industry. I am excited about the beginning steps of this direction and look forward to future successes. Then the next presentation we saw was about departmental alignment. I speak those words every day as a general president and the co-chair of the IUPAT and the FTI and LMCI. I stress those words every day with every department because I believe them. Over the course of the last 25 years, myself and my predecessors had the vision to build these departments. Now, it's my focus to challenge every department that you saw up here on stage yesterday with continually asking them, how does this work that I do align with every other department, fund, and association that we have within our organization? This is the next logical step in our evolution as an organization. And like I mentioned earlier, if we do not come together now as one, we will become insignificant separately. We can't do this work alone. And in our shared vision of growth, our departments need to be continually in communication with each other and supporting one another in making a positive impact on this great industry. From our work on Capitol Hill, to our organizing campaigns, to our signatory contractors' priorities, if we are not aligned in our shared vision, we will never reach our potential. Now I'm going to shift on over right now to highlight one recent area of alignment. A recent decision from the administration to end temporary protective status, TPS, was not being renewed as a government program that provides relief from deportation and access to a work permit for individuals from certain countries who cannot safely return to their country of origin, either because of disaster or conflict and any other matters that come up above, causing the workers in the international to immediately and strategically move into action. Now you might be asking yourself, how does this terminating TPS affect the IUPAT? Let me explain. I have set forth an objective to grow our membership, and the only pathway forward to do this is by organizing the industry in any and every way we can. If you work in our industry, I want you to be a member of the IUPAT. In this respect, I've tasked General Vice President Jim Williams to think outside the box when it comes to organizing. Under that direction, we have recently launched our strategic organizing vision to do just that, hiring 3 diverse young women with strong backgrounds in worker outreach, community engagement, and campaign strategy. This division has already shown promise as being a key component in driving our union's organizing efforts in a bold, innovative, new way. Again, the idea is simple, but the execution requires alignment. When the administration decided to take a punt on DACA, deferred access for childhood arrivals, and start rolling back and eliminating TPS, we began to access the impact it had on our industry, and the impact is staggering. Did you know? No less than 30% of TPS recipients work in the construction industry. These are the workers who perform for contractors every day, regardless of whether they're union or non-union. In order to build a future of credibility within this workforce, we need to show support for these workers and begin working in coalition with our community partners and like-minded labor unions. And we did build a coalition. It's called Working Families United. We're partners with not only community groups, but the Iron Workers Union has leaned in on this, as has the Bricklayers Union leaned in on this. Why? Because those are the workers that we represent. And we began to apply pressure on Congress and the administration in order to find a clean pathway to citizenship for both TPS recipients and dreamers. These are not workers who are in the country illegally. These are workers who have gone through the vetting process. They have their fingerprints. They've got the retina scan. They're registered with the government. And now, after being in this country for sometimes up to 10 years, by the stroke of a pen, these folks who've been paying taxes, who've been working and earning wages and benefits, being community beneficiaries, working together, members, by the stroke of a pen, they want to be rejected and sent back home. How do you do that when we have a worker shortage right now? Now, Chris Sloan and our government affairs team began to work on the Hill. Our organizing department hit the streets. Our communications department sprang into action through public and digital campaigns, and the FCA supported the initiative through their lobbying efforts as well. This is what it means to be aligned. This is what a shared vision is about. This is the work that we must do. Now, it's going to be a long battle. We don't know what the outcome is, but the effort that we must put forth on this is important for our survival. It's important for many reasons. And it's important that we look at this as a model for how we approach initiatives as organizations represented in this room. I would be remiss, Mike, also to not mention the inspirational presentation given by that Marine, Bernice Armour. Her fearless delivery on the importance of engagement and having the guts to do business differently and change course when needed exactly was what we needed to hear. But what struck me most was her point about transition and transformation. The LMCI and the FTI is in the process of a transition, and we have to be fearless about that transformation. We have the courage to seize opportunity with one mission, one goal is one team. Again, alignment. Yesterday afternoon, our breakouts included a pension fund update, marketing focus group study, and a session on recruiting a 21st century workforce. All topics relevant to our industry. Topics that we need to be working in collaboration on and working in alignment. Pension. Tim Maitland and Jim Bogart gave you an update on the status of our fund and changes that the Board of Trustees recently took action on, as well as exciting improvements to the fund, including member benefit calculators and an employer self-service portal. I cannot express the strides that we've made with Tim Maitland as our administrator and applaud the work ethic and ideas that he brings to better service the membership and the contractors. We all know that the work that went on into the changes of our funding improvement plan, and will only say that this was a collaborative effort between labor and management and the management trustees on the pension fund board. It's not easy to say that every plan discussed wasn't met with resistance on both sides. But at the end of the day, our contractors and my GEB understood that in order to have that sound retirement at the end of our working career, give and take needed to be made in order to make and implement a plan designed to accomplish those things. Marketing. Marketing has been a long discussed and debated topic among the LMCI Board of Trustees. We often talk at times in circles on this because of our passion for the industries that we represent runs so deep. That passion is palpable. And after some long discussions at our September meeting, we decided to begin the process of implementing a marketing strategy for our industry. This is no easy task, and this is no quick process. However, I am pleased to report that we have engaged a professional who lives and breathes marketing. Because after all, at the end of the day, we are union representatives and contractors. But we do know our industry, and everyone in this audience knows their industry. I'm so excited that we took this opportunity to begin to research the development phase of the marketing plan and begin to analyze what initiatives we can begin to take in marketing. And again, for all trades represented by the contractors and the IUPAT. And I also want to thank everyone who participated in the focus groups yesterday. That information is invaluable, and the research and recommendations will be presented back to the LMCI board, just as Anton said. So more to come on that front, and again, thank you, Anton, for getting that rolling. Recruiting in the 21st century workforce. Simon, Alice, Jose, thank you so much for leading that discussion. This topic is near and dear to my heart because it's essential for our growth. Our membership needs to look like the workforce. Do we? The workforce is browner, and we are not. Not only do we need to recruit a workforce for the 21st century, we need to recruit and organize a workforce that exists out there right now. We need to have courageous conversations at every level of our organization, from training departments to our signatory employers, to our local organizers, to our local leaders. Partnerships with groups such as Jobs with Justice, the Partnership for Working Families, Indalon, the National Day Labor Organizing Network, local groups that you do and partner with help us make that. I'm going to close, but I want to say I spoke on this stage 2 years ago and stated that I believe in an effective run national association. Despite all the grumblings that you may hear out there and all the chatter that we've been disproportionately consumed with, I still believe that. Run effectively. And at the end of the day, I still believe we need that more than ever. We need to be aligned. We need to be organizing the industry. We need to be servicing the industry. We need to be a single voice at this time, but we need to do our jobs. Our centuries-old and decades-old institutions will not be distracted by the naysayers. If you're not on board with the vision of growth and survival, well, maybe it's time to move along. Maybe this isn't for you. I'm not mad at you. But we will not let the naysayers in the room be heard the most. We have to let our collective voices be heard. I'm going to do my duty as the General President of the IUPAT to serve the best interest of the membership at all costs. There is no one person, organization, or one initiative that will bring us down. You got to hear me on this. We have to be pulling in the same direction. We have to be aligned. We must work together, and where we agree, full speed ahead. If we disagree, we got to discuss it and figure out what's the best pathway to go forward. It's not just for me. It's not just for you. It's for those 300,000 people that depend on the work that our members do to support their families, to support their loved ones. And that's too precious a thing for me to toy with. So yeah, I'm going to work with everybody I can to make sure that that goal of representing those over 140,000 members and their families to work to earn that pension, to work to earn those benefits, to make sure that we have contractors that are still with us and working to move forward, to grow. New members, new contractors. And if we have to take it to the street to get our point across, to do what's right for those members and prospective members, for those contractors and prospective contractors, IUPAT is ready to go. I want to thank each and every person that came here to this week's Finishing Industries Forum. I know that I have been impressed. Sometimes people say I get easily impressed. But I am an optimist. I know that we can go forward. I know that the people in this room are the nucleus. I ask you that when you go home to your business and you get tied up in your day-to-day operation, remember what happened here. We can no longer go from meeting to meeting. This is a great meeting. There were a lot of good ideas bandied about and shared. Tim Weiss, what an idea. To be able to move forward. That's what we should keep in our head. Make sure that you fill out the surveys, make sure that you read the follow-up documentation, listen to the webinars, and make sure that when we visit here again in 2018, that we don't have to do a reboot, that we're ready to go forward with the reports out and the direction that we continue to take. Thank you so much. Safe travels.